So here I am in Visual Studio Team System 2008. This is the environment that we are developing in, but just to be clear, this product, the database schema provider for Oracle, will be released with Visual Studio Team System 2010. I'm going to start by creating a new project. And under the new projects, under database projects, we have the ability to create an Oracle project. And this is going to give me a new project wizard where I have the option of either starting with a blank slate or importing an existing schema. So I'm going to choose to import an existing schema from my Oracle database. And I'll choose the Quest schema. I'm going to select a couple of configuration options for the project. I'm setting the deploy settings of where this schema is going to be deployed back to, should I choose to build and deploy this project. And now the schema provider will query the database and import the DDL scripts for each object in the schema that I chose. And when that's finished, in the Solution Explorer, I can see the objects that are imported. But what's more useful is that I can actually browse the schema because we have an offline schema model now. So if I open up the database schema view, I can actually browse by object type and display properties on those objects.
And that's all offline, Daniel?
This is all offline. Once I imported from the database, the schema provider disconnected from the database, and everything I'm doing from that point forward is offline. So the use case I want to demonstrate here is that I'd like to change a column in a table and then push that back to the database. Now that I've imported the schema, it makes sense to check that into source control so that I have version tracking on all of my objects. So I'm going to add this schema to source control. And I'm going to connect to my Team Foundation server and check this project in. Now that it's checked in, or added to the Team Foundation server, I'm going to go ahead and check in the version of this table. I'll call this the base. Then I'm going to go ahead and make a change to the column. I'm going to change the name column. Now notice if I make a typo or a syntax error, I get the indication in the editor. And a quick mouse over is going to tell me that I actually have a syntax error in my Oracle script. And once I correct that, the syntax error goes away. So I've changed the length of the column from 100 to 1,000. I'm then going to perform a comparison between my offline schema and the live database. So at this point, it's going to go out and query the database and create a model of what the live database looks like and compare that against the model that I have in Visual Studio. And it's going to identify the differences and then give me a script that syncs up the database with my offline model. And in this case, because I just changed the column, it's going to perform an alter on that table and change the column length to 1,000. And if I want to, at this point, I can actually push that back to the database. So then checking this script back in a second time, I can go ahead and view the history in version control and perform diffs to see how that object has evolved over time. And that's a basic use case of the Oracle Database Schema Provider. Other features that we'll add to the Schema Provider include unit testing, and data generation and designers for various objects. So Daniel, that's a quick 5-minute demonstration.